Occasionally, I like to talk about things that are happening, events being held here in Dundee, and one of the upcoming events, very quickly, when I record this, we're the 19th of December, so we're getting very close to Christmas and the New Year period. And obviously, what I'm talking about on this video, as you can tell by the title, is the event surrounding Dundee's Hogmany celebrations. Even now in 2019, Hogmanay is still a huge thing in Scotland. It is still a major celebration, even though it occurs annually, every single year. I think people around the world see footage from the likes of the capital city, Edinburgh, the fireworks, the celebrations, the concerts there. Everybody will around the world will eventually see footage in some form or way from Edinburgh at some point during the first a few days really of the year, and and really it's Edinburgh that's mostly the focus of celebrations. And here in Dundee, it's not there's never not for many years. I couldn't put my finger on exactly when the last time was, but for many years, Dundonians, the people of Dundee, have wanted some kind of New Year's Eve celebration somewhere, some party to celebrate the chiming of the bells, the entering of a new year. Obviously this year we're going to go into 2020. It's been talked about, the subject of a lot of discussion for many years, and about a year or so ago, it must just be roughly about a year now, it was announced that originally there would be a 2-day New Year's spectacular taking place in the city square, which is right where the Caird Hall is located, in an area which is not the biggest really area, but it is where they hold the annual Christmas light switch on. You can get a couple of thousand people in there at least. It's not the biggest area, but it is a decent area for a limited thing like this. And a lot of people were happy. A lot of people were excited that this was be announced. There was further kind of, I think, the beginning of, I wouldn't say the argument, but the kind of a little bit of frustration, certainly with the event, was when it was announced it would be a ticketed event, and you'd also have to buy a ticket for any of those days that you want to attend. It was originally a 2-day spectacular, so on the 30th of December there would be a concert by an act called Squeeze, as in Squeeze a Lemon, etc. I don't know much about them, but they would be holding a concert on the 30th, and then on the 31st there would be another kind of concert, another celebration party thing. I think the gentleman's named Kyle Falconer. There would be Eddie Reader, who's a very famous and respected Scottish singer, and several other names as well that were due to perform at that event in the city square. So that would be kind of, really, to be honest, from all, obviously kind of keeping an eye on that situation, because I did think about going down to it maybe at one point, several points while it was the early announcements were being made. That was kind of beginning the frustrations of people, because it's the city square right in the city centre of Dundee. A lot of people weren't happy with the fact that there were ticketed events by, I believe the organiser are GMC Ventures. Some people were starting to be unhappy that you have to buy a ticket for one or both events. Obviously, depending on what events you were interested in, however many tickets were on sale. But that was kind of the start of frustrations with it. Eventually, just kind of fast forward and trying to keep this kind of to the basic details, it was announced a couple of months ago that in fact the first day of the 2-day spectacular, called It's Happening, after really, to be honest, it's named after It's Finally Happening. Basically, I think the comment that a lot of Dundonians made regarding having any type of New Year's Eve celebrations, It's Happening, and the GMC Ventures, the organisers, announced that the Squeeze concert, due to what they called sluggish ticket sales, would no longer be happening, and so that was cancelled. So it went down to a 1-day event, and there were refunds and obviously people who may not have been able to make the New Year's Eve thing, and I'll get onto refunds and things in a minute. But obviously, a lot of people really unhappy, and that's kind of the beginning, the continuation of people's frustrations with this event. I don't know how many. I don't have figures about ticket sales or how many they expected, how many they were going to have. I know there were a couple of thousand, because you can get a couple of thousand people in there easily. Because I've seen it, like I said, with the annual Christmas light switch on, which happens in the city square. Pack a fair amount of people into there. But as I said, they announced that the squeeze event would not be happening, and it was only a couple of weeks, so really actually I'm looking at this in the 19th of December, only about 10 or 11 days ago, no actually about 2 weeks ago now actually, to be honest, about 2 weeks ago, 2-3 weeks ago, there was actually fears that the New Year's Eve event wouldn't be happening either, that the whole thing would actually be cancelled. Now, according to all the things I've seen in the media, and I've got a few things on my laptop, you probably see the light kind of shining on me, underneath me, just because, again, I want to make sure I've got the details as accurate as I can. It was about 3 weeks ago, like I said, that there was concerns and speculation that the whole event wouldn't be happening, and that is due partly because to Dundee City Council, who eventually, on I believe the 5th of December, if I can find it, they were basically Dundee City Council around approximately the 5th of December told GMC Ventures that they had serious concerns about them holding this event, about the organising of the event, over issues such as toilet facilities, barriers, bus queues on Crichton Street, which is where a lot of the buses stop. But to be honest, the buses on New Year's Eve, I don't know whether we would be laying on buses, especially if that event was at the City Square still, but certainly the latest that I took from the National Express website and the page they've got up about their Christmas services, because I thought I was going to be still doing some volunteer stuff during that period, what I'm not now, just due to scheduling differences. Well, the way that it's going to be don't really need to go into it. But I felt I needed to check on that, and certainly New Year's Eve they're stopping the buses between 8 PM and 9:30 PM. So I don't really understand. I don't know whether Explore Dundee, the local Dundee bus company, would be putting on any buses or that. Obviously that's out the window now because it's not happening at the City Square. So people will have to find other means like taxis and lifts, home. However they do it. But as I said, issues and concerns over toilets, barriers, bus queues and first aid provision. Basically the council gave GMC Ventures until the 20th of December to sort these things out. They said, right, we're going to give you a deadline, 20th of December, sort these issues out, come back to us with a plan, come back to us with showing you can facilitate these items and address these concerns. And I think that at that point they may have given the go-ahead of the event at the City Square. However, just a couple of days, 4 days later, on December 9th, certainly I saw it on the Courier website, they announced that this whole event will now be taking place in a nightclub called Fat Sam's. I believe there's a few Fat Sam's. I'm not sure whether it's a chain or whatever, but Fat Sam's in Dundee, that is going to be now the venue for the It's Happening event. I believe there's still the same performers, Kyle Faulkner, Eddie Reader and the other few names. Apologies if you're not named on this and you think should be, but there's several names, I think some local bands performing there. So the event now will still take place on December 31st at the Fat Sam's nightclub, which is not too far away. It's still within the city centre of Dundee. I think if I'm remembering right, it's kind of like up towards the west end of Dundee from the Overgate. It's kind of slightly around, just a few streets away. It's not, Dundee city centre is not a very big, massive area. Really, it's very easy to get to. Fat Sam's, I've been in there for a couple of wrestling events from a Glasgow company, and I think that was before they kind of reorganised the venue. But Fat Sam's in Dundee will be still holding this event. And again, I said talk about refunds. That kind of angered people a bit as well. The fact that, you know, like basically if you go down to the city centre of Dundee at midnight on any night, any weekday night, because obviously, you know, this year's New Year's Eve is on Tuesday. It's Tuesday the 31st of December this year. It's not a Friday 31st or Saturday 31st. It's a Tuesday 31st of December this year, obviously. So you go down to any Tuesday at midnight and it's dead, pretty much. It's gone. There's nothing much there. There'll be a few people milling about, but obviously by then the shops will be closed. People will be basically a few vagrants and a few other people be maybe wandering about a little bit. Few people going in and out of pubs and clubs that are in that area, but basically there'll be nothing much happening. Just unfortunately, like I said, this year, and that kind of annoyed people. That, you know, again, Dundee City Centre would be dead. Really, there would be nothing happening. That there's no big public celebration. Fat Sam's, I'm not sure about their capacity, but I think their capacity is slightly smaller. And again, people were not happy. The fact point is also, when this hall changed and when it was moved on December 9th to Fat Sam's, there was also the indication from GMC Ventures that no refunds would be allowed. There would be no refunds at all. Now, I've heard it this different ways still to this day, still to December 19th, about different things. Now, tickets I believe for this are available on the Skiddle ticket site. They are one of those many various ticket sites. I know local wrestling show used them, I think, a few times for shows, at least at one point. But certainly, I believe you can actually claim a refund through the Skiddle website, but I'm not sure about refunds. But so I've seen, like I said, I've heard about different people saying, oh, there's no refunds available, and then I've heard about people saying, oh yeah, if you go into the Skiddle ticket website, you can claim a refund that way. But I don't know, it depends. If you've got a ticket and you want a refund because of it's been moved indoors to Fat Sam's, or you're just not happy with all the story of this, then yeah, best to kind of maybe go through the Skiddle website or contact the organisers. I'm sure there will be ways. It doesn't seem they've got a Facebook page, GMC Ventures, because all the thing I can find is just going to a car maker Facebook group. But as I said, I've heard different things about refunds not available, but refunds are available through Skiddle website, so people would have to check into that themselves. One of the latest update on this, because I don't want to make this too long, but the latest update today is another kind of, well, it's not a really, to me, concern, because I've long made the decision not really to go to this, but another one of kind of, I think it's a bit ridiculous decision or way this is set up has been today, and this has been reported by the Courier website again. Courier is one of the DC Thomson newspapers here in Dundee. There's the Courier, there's the Evening Telegraph. The Courier's the daytime and the Evening Telegraph is like the evening paper that comes out late in the afternoon. Well, I say late in the afternoon, there's a couple of editions over the course of the day. At least two. One kind of early morning edition, and there's a later kind of revised or latest news of the day version, which has been the way for many years. But the latest update on this, trying to kind of cut through this, is that the Courier and Rachel McCurdy, I believe the reporter, is reported today that due due to well, basically nightclub restrictions, under 18s, anybody who's under the age of 18, 18 is the legal age of, I suppose, adulthood. Here in the UK, it's the legal drinking age. Yeah, I think you can get married at 16, but certainly you're basically legally an adult in the UK at 18. However, they are now saying, Rachel McCurdy and the Courier is reporting that anybody attending this event who is under the age of 18 will have to leave the venue at 11 p.m. They will have to leave this at 11 p.m. So if you bought a ticket and you want to celebrate New Year's at It's Happening event, and you're wanting to see in the bells, as we say here in Scotland, if you're under the age of 18, you will have to leave the event at 11 p.m. Although, according to the Courier, it says partygoers were issued with an email stating over 14s would be given access to this event still when it got moved to Fat Sam's. That's what happened. Partygoers saying apparently that they were issued with an email stating that over 14s would be allowed into the event. And obviously, if you buy a ticket to a New Year's Eve celebration or New Year's celebration, you're obviously going to want to be there for the New Year actually happening, for the clocks to strike midnight. Whether you're Cinderella or not, you'll want to be there at the midnight. Especially if you're not Cinderella, I suppose, you want to be there at midnight. Cinderella didn't want to be there at midnight, if I remember rightly, but she wanted to be there, but she couldn't be there because of whatever. It's a fairy tale. So apparently under 18s will be basically booted out of the venue, as the Courier terms it, at 11 p.m. Now this obviously has angered people. There is one, the Courier quotes one father has expressed his anger at the restrictions and claimed his family have been left in quote-unquote limbo over the change. He originally purchased 2 tickets for the street party for his 17-year-old daughter and her boyfriend, as the View's frontman Kyle Falconer is set to headline. I have no idea about timings for this event. I have no idea about what time he would be taking the stage, whether it be at midnight, whether it be immediately after midnight. I don't know what the timeline is of certain acts going on stage. I would imagine he would be taken to the stage around about midnight because it is a New Year's celebration. According to the Courier, this is what he said. I have forked out more than £200 between hotels and tickets because I wanted her to enjoy the street party with her boyfriend. I got an email after the venue change saying there would be no age restrictions, but hearing that they will have to leave before midnight is totally unacceptable. It has left plans completely in limbo as we can't get a refund. Again, going back to the fact that some people are saying there's no refund, and then some people saying going through the Skiddle website you can get a refund. So I don't know, anybody with a ticket will have to check that themselves. I am not any legal expert about refunds. I would imagine you would surely be able to legally entitled to a refund, but again, I'm not any legal expert. It's completely pointless for them to attend now as they won't get to be there for the bells. The curfew defeats the purpose of having a Hogmany party, and it seems like it's been badly organised from the start. Yeah, it says actually down here, the event was set to be Dundee's first Hogmany street party since 1999, and the downscale has caused public disappointment. Well, like I said, it has been constant things in every month or so in the run up to this event. People saying, oh great, street party, Dundee New Year's celebration, can't wait to go. Oh great, now we're being charged about, is it £35 for tickets, I believe is kind of their price range for tickets, and now it's going to be at Fat Sam's, which I think slightly affects the amount of people that can attend. And now obviously this they'll remove under 18s at 11 p.m. Due to legal, I believe it's legal nightclub restrictions. So it's not been really greatly organised. I have to say they've had about a whole year to organise it and address concerns. I mean, there's been plenty of successful public events in Dundee over the recent couple of years. I mean, I attended the Pride event in Dundee. Just as a photographer, I wanted to go down there, get some photographs, which like I did last year. I got a few decent ones. I've still not even touched the entertainment concert portion of the photographs. I've still got loads of them to kind of edit. I've just never had the chance to do that. But I'd say it's been, I mean, my own opinion, it does seem a little bit badly organised. It does seem like, you'd think the very first things that they would organise is, right, toilet facilities, because there are very few, there are not really any public conveniences in Dundee, really. Places like the local fast food restaurants, I think there's only one really in Reform Street. McDonald's, that I think they kind of closed their toilet upper level toilets now later at night. There's no public toilets that you could access. There's no just no accessible place, and things like first aid supervision and licensing things. And I've talked about before about licensing changes in Dundee and how that's affected things like wrestling events. I don't know. It seems, I know this seems to be maybe from what I read that also on this article, the first time that GMC Ventures have put on an event like this, where they're claiming it's a not-for-profit event. But yeah, it does seem very badly organised, or certainly, even if they say it's not badly organised, and I don't kind of tear them down, because I say I've not been involved, I've not really witnessed what's happening about organising this kind of thing. It does seem to be, well, it's not been handled the best way that it could have been handled. That's all I'll say. This video's gone on a very, very long time, but so that seemed to be such a shame that over that I said many Kyle Faulkner is very appealing to a lot of younger people. Some of the under 18s will have booked a ticket to see him. Like I said, I don't know about timelines for what acts will be appearing on stage and when, but certainly, yeah, it seems to me that, like I said, I'll just say that things for the Dundee, It's Happening Dundee Hogmany celebrations, yeah, it does seem it could have been organised just a little bit better, I'll say.